Frank Castle, the Punisher, a famously brutal superhero who really hasn't had all that much luck making the transition from the page to the screen. One has to wonder what the big deal is. Why can't Marvel bring this dark, brooding, ultra-violent hero to life? Well, unlike a lot of the other R-rated heroes, the Punisher rarely relies on breaking the fourth wall or comic relief to get some questionable stuff past the censors. He just wrecks people. So to honor his sacrifice in the name of justice and brutality, let's count down the top 10 darkest things the Punisher's done. Coming in number 10, we've got the Pizza Party Dog Pile. What a place to start, am I right? It sure doesn't sound like a brutal kill. In fact, the way I've titled this one, it seems like something that might happen at your little cousin's hockey tournament. All fun and games until someone loses an eye, right? Or in this case, suffocates underneath an enormous man. See, Frank Castle and one of his many enemies known as the Russian have fought on multiple occasions. In this particular instance though, the Russian gained the upper hand. Pummeling the Punisher, things weren't looking too good for our revenge-fueled friend. However, as it often tends to happen, the fight got taken a little too far and the tables did turn. After tossing the Punisher into his neighbor, Mr. Bumpo's apartment, some improvised weapons were used. Hot, spicy pizzas to be precise. Castle tosses some of these molten meals into his adversary's face and then uses Mr. Bumpo himself as a smothering weapon. The rotund man makes for a great weight and the Russian gets stuck underneath. Adding a little assistance to the top of the pile, he stays there for a solid half hour. At that point, the Russian's breath is all but guaranteed to be stopped. Suffocation is a brutal way to die no matter how you slice it, but being assailed by someone else's dinner and then squashed under a huge friendly man? That's tough. And poor Mr. Bumpo, right? Unwillingly added to the fray as a weapon against a murderous madman by a murderous madman. And to make matters worse, Castle ensures the Russian's death by decapitating him. I'm sure that's an experience Bumpo does not look back upon fondly. Coming in number 9, we've got a bad day for Wolverine. If we're being honest here, I'm not so sure what a great day for Wolverine looks like. He's haunted by his past, traumatized by the experiments performed upon him, and all around pretty grumpy and surly. So a good day might just be an extra hot dog at dinner time or maybe a smile from a person he isn't totally annoyed by. But a bad day, oh boy, this one really takes the cake. The Punisher and Wolverine are technically on the same side most of the time, right? They're fighting for the good guys. Kinda. So one wouldn't necessarily expect them to go at each other, but it did end up happening. And in this fight, Frank Castle does not hold back. Where do I even start? Wolverine's face is ripped off, exposing the bare skull underneath. Ouch. Then there's the bit where Castle takes a shotgun and blasts Wolverine's, well, bits. That can't be too pleasant either. And to seal the deal, while Wolverine is crawling along the floor, Castle revs up a steamroller and runs it right over his mangled body. That's pretty far from heroic behavior, don't you think? Coming in number 8, we've got Redhead Ransom. I guess these days the goofy kids from Riverdale have a bit of an edgier reputation thanks to whatever the hell the good folks over at the CW are doing. Things get dark out there. Hell, there have even been little horror adaptations of the Archie comics, from mythical monsters to the literal predator. But did anyone expect Archie Andrews to be held at gunpoint by the Punisher? The all-American lad with a heart of gold? What did he do to deserve this? Well, as it turns out, he matched the profile of a notorious narcotics smuggler and salesperson known as Red. So the Punisher wasn't off his rocker in pointing a weapon at Archie. But still, all dressed up in his Letterman jacket, and then he's looking down the barrel of a deadly weapon. At least Castle didn't pull the trigger. Coming in number 7, apply directly to the forehead. Head on. You know the old commercial, right? Well, the Punisher decided to take that advice and run with it. Although I kinda doubt this is available at Walgreens. See, the human skull is a remarkably strong thing. It takes a lot of force to cause damage to one, especially if you're running low on weapons and ammo. Thankfully, if you're extra resourceful, you might be able to find a solution to being low on head-cracking implements. Just use another person's head. Oh wow. The Punisher just straight up double grips this one guy's head and drives it full force into another dude's dome. It's not often someone can tell you that the last thing that went through their mind was someone else's. Coming in number 6, An Empire's State of Mind. Remember that scene where Batman tosses a guy from like the second story and his victim's like, oh, you're not gonna kill me from here, and Batman's like, yeah, that's kind of the point, I want to break your legs, not your neck. Good times. The Punisher is taking no chances. Legs may be broken, but they're not gonna get up. No sir. Somehow, someway, he brought one of his many marks to the tippy top of the Empire State Building. From my experience, the security around there wouldn't let a spandex-clad man with a skull on his chest carry a bound and gagged person to the observation deck, but hey, Frank Castle does what Frank Castle wants. So after hauling this poor guy all the way up, what does he do? Do they share a moment of mutual appreciation for the New York City skyline? Do they feed quarters into one of the many pairs of tourist binoculars up there? Nah, Frank tosses the guy off the side. And in the comic, it all seems well and good, like flipping a coin off the edge, who's gonna know? The Mythbusters aren't here to confirm whether or not something falling from that height would kill someone, but we can all assume that the man falling from height perished. However, what happened to his body? Did it smash someone's car, land in a dumpster, splatter all across a busy street? It's questions like that keep me up at night. Coming in number 5, teaming up with Eminem. Did you know that there was a run of comics where the Punisher kills Eminem's team, listens as Eminem raps entire songs to him, and then gets Eminem to kill Barracuda? I'm not sure if this counts as super dark, but that is a very weird crossover. You know what? It is dark. I'm making it so. All those poor groupies gone in the blink of an eye. Then the Punisher has to deal with whatever nonsense Eminem gets him involved with from then on. That's it for this entry. I wanted to bring up the fact that the Punisher and Eminem had a comic series together. Thanks for listening. Coming in number 4, shark bait hoo-ha-ha. We've already touched upon the Punisher's almost religious use of improvised weapons. Pizza, skulls, car batteries, you name it. If it can hypothetically hurt someone, he's probably used it to inflict some serious damage, Phil Swift style. However, a lot of these weapons have probably been used by your average thug to similar effect. Maybe a little less brutal, but still deadly and painful if used correctly. But how many people can say that they've literally used a shark to kill someone? I'm sure there are a few, but the list can't be all that long. So of course, Frank Castle finds a way to utilize a deadly aquatic predator to take down a target. Legend. Noticing that one of the people he was fighting was missing a limb or two near the water, the Punisher got a gruesome idea. After attracting an enormous shark with some blood in the water, he pushes the poor guy in, and we get to see the moment it all comes together. In a flurry of teeth and fins, the criminal is mangled by a shark, and the Punisher simply looks on, satisfied. Coming in number 3, brutalizing Barracuda. Never a fan of underdoing a job, we've seen the Punisher really go to town on all sorts of rivals over the years. It's almost a challenge for authors behind the comics to come up with new and inventive ways to end lives through Castle's eyes. But when he finally gets his hands on longtime enemy Barracuda, the Punisher did not shy away. No sir, he turned that mess up to 10. After biting chunks of his face skin out, Castle goes in for the kill. Not immediately though, he really takes a moment to soak it all in. There are some gunshots and a nice little curb stomp, and then eventually a car battery is brought out. Uh-oh. Allegedly clamped down upon some unmentionables, the Punisher lets loose some insane electrical shocks that really get Barracuda going, and that's not enough even then. After some 15 minutes of agonizing electricity, he finally takes a pickaxe out and chops Barracuda's limbs and head off. That's just horrifying. At number 2, we've got Polar Bear Bloodbath. Now, most of what happens here isn't explicitly shown to the reader. We see Ma Nucci, famed mafia matriarch, appear to get back at the Punisher for killing her sons. However, doing so at the zoo was probably a bad call. The Punisher manages to maneuver the fight into a polar bear enclosure, and these beasts are not happy to have visitors. Dang, and all those Coca-Cola commercials convinced me that polar bears are super chill. What do you mean a major corporation lied to me? Back to the matter at hand though, Ma and a couple of her lackeys are left to fight for their lives against enormous ice-faring predators, and they don't come out the other end looking too pretty. Ma in particular is in pretty bad shape, missing her arms and legs. What she isn't missing, however, is her attitude. And finally at number 1, Into the Fire. And this is a fun one to end on. After putting Ma Nucci through that animalistic encounter, the Punisher had to make sure he finished the job. Just going in and killing her wouldn't be enough though. In fact, to him, that would almost be a mercy. No, he's gotta raise the stakes, as always. So after the entire ordeal is as good as done, he decides to set fire to Ma's mansion with her still in it. She's a feisty one though, and makes it out of the fire one last time. Crawling towards Castle in one final desperate attempt to kill him, she performs what I can only describe as that move that Pokemon do when they run out of PP to use. Struggle. The Punisher sees this, lines up a nasty kick, and sends Ma flying back into the inferno for good. Sheesh. What a lunatic, am I right? Who else could get away with all this horrific stuff and still be so beloved? Only Frank Castle. So, what'd you think of the list? Did you agree with my picks? What's the darkest thing you remember the Punisher doing? Make sure you let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.